Up next, we have Tracy Timm, who's what many professionals call a matchmaker, with an Ivy League degree from Yale. Wow. Give a round of applause for that. She works with companies to help them find candidates who love the work that they have, and she works with individuals to help them find work that they love to do. Her talk tonight is called How to Find Your Dream Job.
Thank you. Whew. Yeah. Imagine for a moment that you're a cow. I promise I'm going somewhere with this, okay? So imagine that you're a cow and you're in a field surrounded by hundreds of other cows, and the sun is shining and the grass is green and you are one happy cow. Now imagine you're a cow in the ocean and you're trying to swim and you've never had fish before and you definitely don't speak dolphin, and no matter how hard you work, that damn dolphin is kicking your ass. That's exactly how it feels to be a behavioral mismatch to your job. Take Dirk Nowitzki, for example. We all know that Dirk is a great great basketball player, don't we? But we probably also know he wouldn't be nearly as effective if we asked him to swim the breaststroke or to run the 100-meter dash, right? And we get this in sports, but not so much in our careers. I know this to be true because it happened to me. This is a picture of my very first office. It's the Wall Street trading floor of the Royal Bank of Scotland. And while that might sound and look fancy to you, I promise you this, it feels like the Death Star. So one day I was out taking a walk on the terrace of the Death Star, and I noticed that there was some construction going on this bridge next to our building. And the minute my associate who was with me, John, saw the bridge, his eyes lit up and he became a completely different person, pouring over, talking about how he had studied engineering and how much he loved construction. And I had a light bulb moment. Right? I realized I had worked with John for over a year, and yet I had never seen him come to life in the way that he did in that moment. And I started to wonder what in the world we were still doing at jobs we hated. So I decided to do something about it. Like many of you, I went to job boards. I went to LinkedIn and Indeed, and I started looking for my dream job, right? And very quickly, I got incredibly overwhelmed by the number of choices that I had, yet wildly underwhelmed because nothing felt like me. I call this the peanut butter problem. It's exactly like walking into the grocery store, agonizing over a jar of peanut butter, and then finding out you're allergic, right? We're going about this the wrong way. If you truly want to take your career to the nth degree, you have to start with you. You have to do the internal work first, or else you keep going on that vicious cycle of overwhelming opportunities, yet completely underwhelming choices, right? So right after I got out of the bank, I was completely lost, I'll admit it. I had no idea what to do with myself, and I was utterly terrified that I was having to start my life over. Has anybody felt like this? Yeah? But when I took a deeper look at my life, I realized that I had so much more going for me than I originally thought. I had a great degree from a wonderful school. I had actually saved up a ton of money. And now that I had quit, I had all the freedom in the world to explore what I really wanted to do. So by taking stock of where I was right now, I was able to create a launch pad for the future. The second trick was figuring out, what did I even like anymore? I'd gotten so sideways at my previous job that I had forgotten a lot of what made me me, what got me excited, what lit me up, and what I could do that companies really needed. All of us have a unique set of behaviors and skills that come naturally to us. And when we align ourselves with a role that takes advantage of those behaviors, we set ourselves up for success. So by looking at my nature, work started to actually look a lot more fun. The next hurdle I had to overcome was this. I had spent 2.5 years in banking, and surprise, I didn't want to do banking anymore. I was terrified that I had spent all this time learning something that I would never use again, and it would be completely wasted. But I met this wonderful mentor who reminded me that if you're doing life right, nothing is ever wasted. And she encouraged me to go back and look at my entire career, not just that one part, and draw out pieces that I could use in the future. That way, when I looked at my nurture, I could leverage it instead of wasting it. The next hurdle I had to overcome was a little surprising. I didn't see it coming. As a perennial overachiever who was unemployed and unhappy, I had decided not to share this journey with anybody. I was going to keep it completely to myself. But it wasn't until I started sharing things with other people that the game totally changed for me. Once I started telling people what I wanted to do and why, opportunities appeared, doors opened, and the whole search just became a lot lighter. My network actually created advocates that helped me move forward. So there I was standing at this perennial two roads diverging in a wood, and I had to decide, was I going to go down the path that might lead me to something that I loved, or was I going to stay on the traditional path where I'd always been? And I didn't know how to decide. But that's when I realized that the right avenues for each of us look like lighthouses in the darkness. The right thing will come at the right time, but we have to be there and be ready to take it. So the final step was learning how to navigate through my unique experiences and expertise to finally grab what I was meant for. If you want to take your career to the nth degree, it's very simple. Follow these 5 steps. Now, nature, nurture, network, and navigate. And I promise you, if you become an expert in these 5 things, you too can take your career from stuck to unstoppable. Thank you.